whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities. Never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you want to be. To prove to them and still amount to something. With that being said, first question I want to ask you is tell our audience a little bit about yourself and how you started your career.
Well, my name's James Pinto II, and I started my career back when I was in high school and doing community theater with the Grayland Players. Been in several productions, and then took a very long hiatus to raise my daughter, Elora, and get her life going. And then got back into acting about, I'd say about maybe 9-10 years ago, and concentrated strictly on film and television.
No, absolutely. And now the next question I want to ask you is what are some of the current projects that you're working on?
Well, what is it? There's a film. I'm not sure if it's the official title, but the Siren's Pearl is one that's coming up, and that will be filming here shortly. Hence the ragged look. I play the sea captain, who has yarns to tell and everything of that nature, and that's going to be shot, this summer, obviously.
No, absolutely. And now, how can our listeners get in touch with you and follow you on social media? Are you on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram?
Well, I do have a LinkedIn, but that's not necessarily focused on acting. But the Facebook, you can reach me there. And I do have a Twitter account, and you can, connect with me there. James Pinto, or you can go under a search for Tygonrow, Tygonrow, and you can find me and learn more about me.
Absolutely. So the first question I want to ask you while we're on the subject, social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything that you accomplish in your career? Do you give thanks to Facebook and all these different social media formats, or did you start your career before social media?
Oh, my career has been around before social media, but the thing is I think social media helps in the getting your name and face out there, but I don't think it's 100% that, because it has everything to do with the connection that you have with the different people in the industry that actually can get you work. I mean, above and beyond your social media interaction, because a face-to-face, I feel, is more intimate and gets people to really, really get to know you, get behind you, and understand, your perspective, because there's only so much you can type out, only so many videos you can put out, but nobody gets to truly know the real person and whether they're suited for the project or not, I think.
Oh, I understand. Now, with everything that you accomplish, has being a professional actor changed your life as up to this point? Like, let's do like a comparison. Before you were a professional actor, do you think that you had everything you wanted, but do you think being an actor has made you look at life in a different point of view?
I would say I had more, as saying, possessions, physical things and stuff of that nature than I did as, before I was an actor, than I did as an actor. But I don't consider money, possessions, things of that nature as really, the tangible, as to saying fulfilling. As an actor, I've gotten more out of life and how I feel about myself and how everything, my outlook is, 300-fold better because I'm following my passion rather than following what, I do as a survival job. And, before acting, I was a network engineer, systems administrator on the tech side. So, and make really good money at that, considerably less as an actor because, I'm not A-list, but I love what I do.
Absolutely. When someone thinks of an A-list actor, you think as soon as you go into the public eye, you have people coming out of the woodwork, paparazzis, everyone stops and make a big scene. Big actors like Robert Downey Jr., Chris Pratt, Chris Evans, Kristen Bale. But, even for me, I don't want to be, okay, I do want to be a big talk show host and get myself out there. But maybe, as of right now, I'm like on the bottom, like a D-lister. But I want to be like a B-lister. I'm saying, yes, I still would like to have my privacy, but at the same time, you want to be known and you want to be recognized. Because once you're an A-lister, you kind of give up some of those aspects.
Oh, yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, my goal is just to be a working actor who, can pay his bills. I mean, I don't have to be known by absolutely everybody, but, if that happens, then yay, but, so.
No, I agree with you. So the next one I want to ask you is, what were some of your career highlights?
I've worked with some pretty well-known actors. Worked with Viggo Mortensen. I worked with Robin Williams and a few others. Just those were highlights, getting to meet and say hello and shake their hand and be part of their project. As small as it may be at times, but being there is very cool.
I don't know the first person who you mentioned, but you did caught my interest when you mentioned Robin Williams. What are you guys like, buddies, or you guys were acquaintances, and what films did you work on?
No, it isn't a lot. I was on World's Greatest Dad and with Robin Williams, and during the shoot and everything like that, we sat around, shared a beer. Him and Bobcat Goldthwait, and the other actor that you were unfamiliar with, if you ever watched Lord of the Rings, he was Strider. He was
Aragorn.
Yeah, Aragorn. Yeah.
Oh, now I know who he is. Before I was like, who's that guy? But Aragorn, he was the best part in Lord of the Rings.
He's one of the better ones. Yes, I would say so.
Well, what's he like when you were sitting around talking to him?
He's very concentrating on his craft. So we didn't have a lot of conversation or anything like that. He was very focused in what he was doing and trying to give the best performance he absolutely possibly can. It isn't until he's offset and that you can actually have probably a conversation with him, but didn't get that opportunity. On set, he's very laser focused.
I understand. There's other people too that take their work very seriously. Christian Bale, Russell Crowe, Hugh Jackman. With everything that you've accomplished in your life, what actors would you say that you worked with and you look back that you didn't appreciate, but looking back now that you do appreciate the opportunity?
That I did not appreciate?
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. There's no moment in my acting career that I did not appreciate what I was doing, regardless of how teeny the part was to how big the part was. Doesn't matter. The worst day on set is still better than my best day at work. So I appreciate every aspect of it. So there's nothing out there that I went, oh God, I'll never work with that person again or something of that nature. Nope. I just go, I roll with it. Like, okay, I'm trying to do the best I can for this project. I certainly hope that what you're doing right now is the best thing that could be done for this project. And hopefully when it comes out, everybody oohs and ahs over the film. That's the whole concept here. So
I agree. For me, for doing this for 8.5 years, there's a lot of people like, I have to have this person back on the show 3, 4 more times. And there's other people where I'm like, okay, maybe the first interview didn't go as planned, but when you're back on for a second time, you get to see a different side of that person. So as long as you're willing to be more flexible, full of energy, when you interview someone for a first time, it's like rolling a ball. You don't know if you're going to get a strike or a curveball. But just because you have kind of like an off balance conversation from the first time doesn't mean it's going to happen the next time you guys speak. Because, sometimes we meet someone for the first time, we hit it off. Sometimes, it's kind of a rocky thing, and there's some things you're like, oh, this person has absolutely nothing in common with. But the more you talk to that person, the more you realize there is a connection.
Yeah, that's true.
I had people say to me when I asked them, oh, what about to have you back on the show again? They're like, no, once was enough. I don't know why people say I don't do prequels. I don't do return things. And personally, I take offense to that. It's like, well, why do you feel that way? If I did something, I would, you always tell me and I could work on it. If I haven't interviewed someone in 8 years, oh, that's a long time, number one. And you evolve over 8 years. So as you're an actor, you probably did like your first acting gig. It probably wasn't that good. But as you evolve over the years, you get better at it. And then you look at different point of views. And now I can know going forward, here are the do's, here are the don'ts. As long as you're professional, no one can ever take that away from you. But if you're the type of person that, throws shit against the wall, says, I don't want to be here right now, and I don't have the I don't care attitude, then you don't know who's watching you, number one.
It's true.
No, I agree with you. You never know. It's like, just I'll give you an example. I've been saying recently, but I say you work in a job, and you say, I hate this job, I don't want to be here, this job sucks. You don't know who walks in and sees you, and later on, a couple months later, a year later, you go for another job and the person recognizes you, and that impression of the I don't care is what you left on that person. And he's like, I saw you at my last job. Why should I hire you if I'm going to get what I saw?
Well, you just right there described every A-list actor and their public behavior, meaning that it's very hard for those A-list actors to be relaxed, be themselves out in public. And so they, are always sometimes acting, depending on the actor. I mean, their personal behavior may be wonderful and great and everything of that nature, but there are some that are having to always put on a facade because they're worried about their public image. And unfortunately, that's the kind of thing that goes along with being one of those A-list actors. You have to pay attention to how the world perceives you and careful about it.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about disabilities in the entertainment world when we come back. Now we're back from the commercial break. The following is brought to you by HB Gibson, home of the X Zone. And Into the Zone, if you like entertainment, definitely check out HB Gibson. If you're into eating, drinking, and working out, definitely check out Life of a Fighter. It's always good to be in shape. You live better, you live longer. Also, the following is brought to you by anime. If you're into anime, definitely check out Anime Adventures. But more importantly, definitely check out the Keith Network. We're available on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So hashtag Keith Network. Hit the bell icon. You'll be notified when brand new episodes are available. But the first thing I want to talk to you about, and following is brought to you by disabilities. So that being said, for older than many years that you've been a professional actor, have you worked with people with disabilities? And for people who want to follow in your footsteps, who have disabilities, how would they go about it?
Let's see. Have I worked with anybody with disabilities? Not that I'm aware of. They may have had disabilities that were, hidden, or, they were high functional and stuff of that nature, but I would say not really, but I have nothing against them. I mean, there are several actors out there that have disabilities, Down syndrome and so forth, that are deaf and they do fabulous work. So I wouldn't have any problem, working with somebody with disabilities. So we'll kind of look forward to it.
No, I give you an example. I didn't know. I always thought there was something off about this girl from Godzilla, but then I realized she was deaf. I thought she was just, one of those people playing a role. But then I saw an interview with her, and she's acting as deaf, but she was really good in that part. Even though the film wasn't based around her, it shows like King Kong took an interest in her and why King Kong adopted her. But people with disabilities should be recognized for their hard work. You look at. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no! I agree with you 100%.
There's when you look at Breaking Bad or RJ. Instead of having an actor pretend to have cerebral palsy, you should just hire someone that does. I think there should be more opportunities. For me, I know I have disabilities, but my problem is it's more mental than physical. So a lot of people would actually presume, this, oxymoron. If you can't see it, then you're just making it up. But there's so many different things of that. If you can't see it, it's not there, or it's like the big elephant in the room. But there's so many things out there that it's kind of like you have to break the status quo of saying, I will prove to you with a disability, look at what I can do and look what you can do. And for 8.5 years, thanks to you, I believe, right now, I'm not 100%. I think this is episode 852. And I met actors actresses, models, CEOs, a lot of great people. Okay, and have I made mistakes over the years where you were supposed to be 1,552? But if you're doing everything yourself, you're going to make mistakes along the way.
Oh, yeah.
So no one's perfect. But it's the last 5 minutes. I'm going to pass it over to you. Was there
Okay.
any projects you want to talk about? Any funny stories or funny pranks that you pulled on to people over the years?
I have a film, a project that I'm actually doing that I am writing a screenplay for, and hopefully it will go into production by next year. I'll have to get the go out and do the funding for it and everything of that nature. I'll get a producer for that, I guess. But it's a film that is it's a feature film based on two assassins facing age discrimination. It's a dark comedy.
It's funny. There's a lot of dark humor jokes.
Yeah.
Here's a couple for you. Why can't homeless kids play baseball?
I don't know.
They don't know where home is.
Oh God.
I know, I'm going to hell.
Yep. There's a level of hell that you just achieved.
What about you? Probably appreciate this one. What's the benefit of dating a homeless girl?
I have no idea.
You can drop her off anywhere.
Oh, my good man. You just achieved a new level.
It's funny when I'm sarcastic, it's funny, but when I'm funny, it isn't funny. So it's funny how that even works.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do want to ask you, because you did bring up a good point while you were talking, you said had someone to represent you. Now, how hard was it for you to have someone represent you, number one? And how would someone like me go about that? Because you find all these people are like, oh, if you give me $300, I'd be more than happy to represent you. If you give me $500,
you're talking about for agencies and stuff of that nature. Okay, one, you never pay. Never, ever, ever pay an agency. You may have a somebody doing promotions, and that'll cost you some money.
Right.
But if you're going like I'm with TCM Model and Talent out of Seattle, and with that, it costs nothing. They sign you up based on your talent and your look, and if they can actually get you out there. I audition a lot for them. Apparently my headshots are pretty good, so that gets me in the door, and I get a number of callbacks and things of that nature. So it shouldn't cost you a dime to have an agent. It's only when you book and you get the work, and then the paycheck comes in, and then you got to pay them. And if you're SAG, which I am, SAG-AFTRA, you pay your 10%, and if you're non-union, you pay your 20%. And that's generally how it works after you've done the job.
No, you're absolutely right. And there's so many people that I interviewed say, oh, I have my own company, and I represent people, and I represent this and that. And it's like, okay, would you want to represent me? Oh, of course, I would love to. Just hit me up. And then when we talk, oh, you have to give me $1,000 for me to represent you. You have to do this. You have to do that. I'm like,
never, ever, 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 ever. And I tell everybody out there, ever pay for representation. Never. If it's a legitimate agency, it isn't going to cost you a dime. You just have to get in, get the interview. Typically, the way of actually getting in the door of a legitimate agency, a larger one, is through the recommendation of a, like you meet somebody on set and they're represented by blah, and they say, God, you have a great look. The people that represent me would probably do really well, to have you in their good grace. Okay, great. And they put in a recommendation to their agency for you. And then that agency reaches out to you, or you reach out to the agency and say, I met so-and-so on set. We had a great rapport, and they said I should get in contact with you, for possible representation. And they'll set up an interview, and it'll be a big, big process. And then you end up signing some papers, maybe, and maybe not, but, they represent you for at least a year, and then you move forward from there.
No, absolutely. For me, I always find scammers. You look at, Instagram, they always do those stupid promos. Give me 15 minutes of your time. I can get you featured on Fox News, CNN. And then I'm not saying I'm stupid. I'm like, okay, let's just see where it goes.
Don't ever Google for agents or agencies or anything of that nature. What you should do is go to the SAG-AFTRA website, and you can, you don't have to be a member of the union to actually do that, but you can get the SAG-AFTRA listed agencies in your area. And then, these are legitimate, places that will represent clients, and they will send you out on union and non-union, acting gigs. So go to the SAG-AFTRA website, and for a fact, the stuff is there.
No, absolutely. Now, wrapping up our talk show, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest.
Thank you.
To let you know that June of next year, I know it's planning one year. Everyone says never plan ahead, but for me, I'm like, what the hell? What's the worst that can happen? I'm here right here. If I'm out, I'm not. But next year, June 10th, it's a Friday at 8 p.m. It's going to be my 9-year anniversary, and I would love to have you part of the show.
Okay, sure.
Now, wrapping up the show, everyone can like and subscribe to the Keith Andrew Network, available on YouTube, Facebook. Make sure to use hashtag Keith Andrew Network. And as I always say, until we meet again, I catch you later.